Welcome to your new Enlightenment Oasis, Blank Enlightenment Radio with Misty Thompson on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Your host, Misty Thompson, joins Dr. Pat and takes you through a journey towards enlightenment. This hit show will help you believe in yourself, knowing that what happens in your life is not happening to you, but rather for you. Gain tools to take this new way of thinking and apply it into your everyday life. By changing your mind, you will change your life. Now settle into where you are because you are in a safe place to learn.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, everybody. Welcome. I'm so thrilled to be introducing all of you to Misty Thompson. And yes, get ready for Blank Enlightenment Radio. Today, you're going to hear about what the journey looks like. What does it look like when you say yes? And yes means the big yes. It could be a big yes. It could be a smaller yes. But the point is, yes has an energy. And as a matter of fact, we have one of our fabulous hosts that what she does is talk about what does it mean to be yes-minded. Today, you're going to hear about what it means to be in that place where even if you're in the juiciness of your yes, you open up to possibilities. Blank Enlightenment Radio is that. How many of you are out there trying to figure out, where am I in the enlightenment scale? How do I bring enlightenment into my life when it's about my money? Oh, wait, can I even talk about, money and enlightenment? How about money enlightenment? How about love enlightenment? How about juicy enlightenment? How about anything enlightenment? More importantly, blank enlightenment. Today, you're going to hear how this incredible journey with Misty has opened up the door for her to step forward in a giant yes and launch Blank Enlightenment Radio. For those of you, you may know her, but let me just talk about this. Misty is somebody that said yes a really long time ago when it came to the notion of becoming a spiritual life coach, an angel card reader, an intuitive psychic medium, best-selling author, teacher, speaker. But what is it along the way? What did she learn about this notion of coming forward in the world, and still incorporating enlightenment into that? Well, today you're going to hear about her struggles, trials, trepidations, what I was going to say, but most importantly, how those get turned around into being a leader when it comes to looking at an amazingly enlightened life. Misty, it's great to have you.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, look, we're going to talk about past, present, and future. And the reason we're going to do that is because this is a giant step amongst many other giant steps you've had in your life. Mm-hmm. What I want to know is, I just gave a brief introduction of you in the world today. I want to know what's some of the challenges, what's some of the obstacles you had to overcome to bring you to this very moment, and welcome to your debut show.
Oh, yes. Well, thank you. Well, it's really interesting because looking back, I didn't realize I was stepping into my enlightenment back many, many years ago. But looking back now, these are all things that has happened to me. So for instance, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to a lot of these concerns, is, my parents divorced. I didn't realize that would be a huge enlightening event where I learned so much. I was a teenage mom. I had my daughter when I was 17, so going through all of that. I myself got married to my oldest daughter's dad, and we divorced. So, all of these things kind of led up to it. I ended up going to work. I've worked 25 years as a law enforcement officer for the Bureau of Prisons. And I learned so much there, not just dealing with, just myself, but learning with people, inmates, and staff members. But, that was a huge awakening and life changing and enlightening moment for myself. I've recently retired in 2015, so I'm able to kind of sit back and kind of get all of these lessons and work towards my enlightenment.
Yeah. What was retirement like, if I might ask?
Yeah. Oh, love it. It's great because I can now do what I wanted to do, which is this. And it's interesting when I retired in 2015, I did not retire saying, "Oh, I'm going to be a spiritual life coach." It wasn't like that. I just knew it was time for me to retire, and I knew there was something bigger that I needed to be doing, and I didn't know what it was. But I took that leap of faith and I followed my heart and I stepped into it. So, yeah, so all of these things has totally helped me to where I'm at today.
I mean, as we look at this, we're taking a look and revisiting the past. And I think
Mhm.
that's one of the most important things to do for us, right? Is we reflect upon our lives.
Yes.
We look at here we are today, and that's a lot of what people know. But the feedback that I get all the time is, Pat, why don't you share more of who you are? I mean, we love that you're talking about your past now, and we're talking about your family, and we're talking about your mom suicide, and it's a journey. It's
Hmm.
a journey to sort of to come out and be us. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's
Absolutely.
really part of this too, is
Mhm.
really honoring the place you are. And one of the most important pivotal parts is getting to what they call the next level.
Mhm.
So what are some of the experiences, and you've mentioned a few of them,
Mhm.
in your past, that you consider like your greatest teacher? Some people
Right.
call them defining moments, some
Absolutely.
people call them light bulb moments,
Mhm.
some people call I call mine brick wall moments. What are yours?
Right. Well, yeah, and before I get into that, I do want to make it very clear to people that I hope people will understand that just because you have these experiences, that does not define who you are. You are not your stories. However, these stories help us learn from them. And, I've always been the person where I at least I tried not to play the victim because like we've gone through these things and I don't want to be the victim. I want to learn from them. So the most defining moment, the biggest moment, like you said, the brick wall moment for me, and it wasn't even directly related to me, was the death of my sister
Mm,
because she was missing for 55 days back in 1993. And then thankfully her remains were found and we were able to have a funeral.
mm,
That was the defining moment for me
mm,
right there. That was huge for
mm.
me. Yeah. And it was an
What does that
indirect.
feel like, Misty? I
Mhm.
mean,
Yeah.
we hear about this, and now, of course, the television is filled with programs about this now, a range of things. But what was that like for you? I mean, you're calling it your brick wall defining moment, and we can have a sense of it, but
Right.
it's hard to imagine what it's like not knowing where a
Right.
loved one is and then knowing.
Yes. And I think at the time, looking back now, I think I was just pretty much numb from it all. I It just seems like it was like a movie, like a dream, because literally, I mean, I know that's what people say, but it's true. It was like a dream. I do not really remember actually feeling a lot, just being numb. My focus during all that was my mom. And I feel like I kind of pushed my sister's disappearance to the side a little bit and I
Yeah.
focused on my mom. My mom was just such a nervous wreck and I just was trying to do anything and everything I could to be there for her. That was my goal. And it wasn't until later after the processing of her death and the funeral is when I kind of just sat back and was like, "Oh my God,
Mm,
this really happened and
mm,
she's really gone." And it just kind of started hitting me after that. Yeah, it was just a crazy time. And it wasn't just because she disappeared. There were, you hear the small town, because I live in a very small town in
yes.
southeastern Arizona, very
Yeah.
small.
Yeah.
And it was corruption with law enforcement, and it was legitimate law enforcement corruption, and they were not helping us at all.
Oh,
And that was what was so crazy. And we would ask questions, and it was just kind of like, well, this isn't the movies. It doesn't work that way. Well, yeah, you can put out something to other law enforcement agencies about her being missing,
yeah,
that kind of thing. And so it was a lot of frustration. It was a lot of just heartache.
yeah.
And not only that, I had three small children. My oldest daughter was about 6. I have twin boys, and at the time they were like 2. I was married at the time, and my husband was kind of getting frustrated with me because I wasn't home a lot, and I had my full-time job at the prison. So, among all of that, it was just a crazy, stressful, overwhelming time. I felt like I was drowning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
just awful. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that because that's a
Yeah.
powerful story. It really gives a sense of what it is in our lives that calls us forward to be here doing what we're doing today.
Right.
Um, uh, I don't know that I've ever had a conversation on air with anyone that has achieved the kind of level you've achieved without there being a story like that, some
Mm,
kind of story.
yeah.
But there's something about you and about your work now
Mhm.
that we're going to talk about next because many people go through life altering situations but don't really survive them.
Mm,
And your message is to help people know not only can you survive them, but you can thrive. That's what I love. Misty
yeah.
Thompson, everybody. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be taking you on a continued journey. What is now? What is going on in your life now? What do you learn after you have a defining moment? How do you move and take that next step? What are the actions? And what role does intuition and understanding play? Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Wow, welcome back. Welcome back. So great to have all of you tune us in and turn us on. I love being able to introduce all of you to Misty. And why? Because when I think about people that are bringing a new energy into the world of enlightenment, into the world of abundance, into the world so that we can live in the space of possibilities and not probabilities. I'm so thrilled that you all get to meet Misty Thompson today. And by the way, we are going to be giving away, Benny, 2 copies of Misty's book,
Mhm.
By Your Side, and we're going to talk about it a little bit. Misty, before we go, before we start talking here, what's the best way for people to find out more about you? If you're on Facebook
Yeah.
now or Facebook Live or you're watching the video, then you're going to have a lot of information on the screen. But for our radio peeps, what's the best way?
Probably my website, which is www.mistymthompson.com. And I just recently bought another domain that will link to that, and it's mistythompson.love. So we have a .love now, so that's awesome. So that
Wow.
one you can, either one of those you can connect. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
Awesome. And thank you so much for your vulnerability and sharing a very personal and private journey with us. But that's really what makes you who you are, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm
Mhm,
supposed to help people because of my sister, because
mhm.
of her tragedy, our family's tragedy. That's what I'm called to do. I'm
Yeah.
supposed to link it in there for sure.
Well, let's talk about where you are today. I
Hmm.
mean, people sometimes will look at me and they talk about, man, I wish I was you. I mean, I wish I could have done what you did. And they don't really know of what this journey is like. First
Hmm.
of all, to say yes to something that has to be built from the ground up. Second, to be willing to take risk and even go in debt to build it. And third, step out and deal with whatever is thrown your way,
Mhm.
right? And hopefully you're going to attract the right people to help you along the way. But it isn't always that easy.
Mm-mm.
Tell us about you, your business,
Yes. Mhm.
because I go to your website and I look at everything you've done.
Mhm.
And it does look like, man, she's got it going on. That must have been like the sliding glide for her.
Yeah, not so much. I do have to admit, things started rolling in line for me only because I followed my heart and I followed that guidance that I was given, and I feel like if we all were to follow what our heart tells us to do, then things will appear to be falling right in line. So, because of my retirement and all of that, I do need to go back. I mean, I started realizing that I was a psychic medium when my sister was missing because I was getting messages from her. And it wasn't like I could just go on and look on the internet. We didn't have the internet back in 1993. So I kind of just pushed it away. But now with my business, I was just guided. After I retired, I spent about 9 months or so, just trying to find that new space. And, I cleaned closets, I organized, I, did those, slept a lot, caught up on shows. But then I just received a message, and I received an email that I needed to, and it called to me that I needed to become a mind, body, spirit practitioner. So I went to a training in Phoenix in January of 2016, and it just went from there. I left that training and I felt like I was awake. And I was told that I need to start a business. And this business is doing angel card readings, and it wasn't even the psychic medium part. It was just doing angel card readings. Well, I live in, a like I said, a very small town, southeastern Arizona. It's The community is really based on the Mormon religion. So I was really nervous about, and we have quite a few Catholics too, but I was very nervous to bring out this angel card reading. It was kind of, I don't know how it's going to be taken, but it was such a strong pull, and I had to follow my heart. And I found that I just started doing readings for people. And as I started doing readings for people, I started realizing their loved ones from the other side were coming through. And so I opened it up to psychic medium, and it just kind of started rolling from there. And again, if I didn't follow my heart, I would still be trying to organize closets that were already organized, so I just needed to follow my heart. And I think that's what, people really need to look at, is following your heart and following your guidance, because it really wasn't easy. I had to step outside my comfort zone. We all have um, that inner thing inside of us that want to be liked
Yeah.
and accepted. And being in a small town, I was afraid I wasn't going to be accepted by what I do, by what I wanted to do, what my heart was telling me I needed to do.
Yeah. That's hard.
It
I mean,
is,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't want to blow by that because, even to this day, my friends don't know what to do to me.
Right.
They just don't know. They don't know. They're like, we didn't even know you were Doctor anything. Like, what are you doing? I mean, for years, when this first started, you know, it was more like, look, get a real job. Aren't you going to get a real job?
Mm,
Well, I'm somebody that worked from 13 years old on,
mm,
right? I know what real jobs are. Getting out of a homeless situation, I worked 3 jobs. I cut meat, all right?
wow.
I cleaned fish. So I
Oh,
know that. So all of a sudden, this real job, and anytime anybody says, let's just go off on this a little bit.
yeah.
Anytime people come up to you and
Mhm.
you are in the zone of figuring out your purpose, do the la, 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 la thing. Do this thing that people, la, 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 go like that. Because what Misty, you're saying is there's an inside process that has to happen.
Hmm.
And you can't hear it if the outside voices are constantly projecting their fear on you. We will never accomplish it. I'm not saying we don't hear things that would guide us along the way, but if it's not light in our own consciousness, it's not right. What do you think?
Yep.
That little thing I went off on.
That's No, that's absolutely the truth. It's absolutely true. You have to step into your heart and the love. You have to, because if you don't, you will be stuck. And a lot of my clients, that's exactly what's happening. They're stuck because they're afraid to step into what their heart is pulling them and telling them to do. And it was difficult for me. My family, my extended family still have problems with what I do, and that's okay. But I feel inside, I feel freer. I
Mhm.
feel free that I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And it is something that people have to be, um, they have to be willing to accept the fact that people aren't going to like you, or they're not going to accept what you do. And like you said, the la 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 la, that
Yeah,
kind of thing. Um, but at the same time, there are already people that don't like you and don't believe what you stand for, no matter what you're doing. So it's important that you follow your heart, your guidance, and
yeah.
that's how you will progress on your path.
And part of this is I have to say that when I was hearing those voices, or I was hearing people give me direction, or even this, I mean, I followed my heart, and you sometimes do that. And what ends up happening is you end up in a divorce,
Hmm.
or you end up breaking up in long term relationships
Yep.
because the people in the outside world, can't see what it is your vision is.
Mhm.
Or if they do, it scares them to death, really.
Absolutely.
But
Very
we
true.
have to do that. I didn't do it alone, though. And this comes to your work now.
Hmm.
The work that you do now is so powerful because you understand what that journey is like. And you're able to hear people in the way that others cannot, because the inside scoop on things, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So when I do readings for people, that's what ended up happening. I would do these card readings or psychic medium readings, and it was really intuitively, I was picking up on things. Their loved ones are trying to guide them and help them, and they just weren't listening because they were thinking that it should be going another way or a different direction. Like you mentioned, divorce. Some people would say, "Oh my gosh, I'm getting a divorce. It's awful." No. And it's not that the other person is bad, or, the people
No,
you're not getting along with. It's just that you guys are moving in different directions. You've learned from each other, and it's time to move away from that.
right.
And that's what's important, listening to that guidance. And what I do with my clients is sometimes they already hear it, but I pick up on intuitively what's going on with them. I listen to their loved ones, and I just relay the information. And a lot of times, I'm going to say 90% of the time, people already know what I'm going to tell them. They understand what I'm telling them. They just need the validation for it.
Yeah,
And so they are listening to their inner guidance. It's just fear. They're
yeah.
afraid to step into it.
Well, and when we come back from break, we're to talk about fear, but we're going to talk about what it is that we can know about the fear, and how does having a future towards enlightenment diminish fear, doubt, not enoughness, and the not knowing. When we come back, we're going to be talking about that, but also we have copies of Misty's book to give away, and we're going to tell you a little bit about the book. So stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back. Is that wild horses, Benny? What was that? That sounded like it was
Um,
going to be like Wow,
No, it's
horses.
entitled "Holding Out for a Hero." Just
Oh,
an
I didn't
instrumental.
get enough of it right there. I thought you were playing my man Mick's song.
Nope.
I thought you were like Wild Horses. That's a song, right? Wild Horses. Is that what it is? Something like
I'm
that?
not sure at the top of my head. I can look that up.
I know I went a little old school on you right there. Probably a little bit too old school on you right there. Listen, welcome everybody. I'm so thrilled. Misty Thompson.
Yes, that's correct, by the way.
Did I get it right? Oh,
Yes, yes, yes.
boom.
That's funny.
Love it. Misty's like, yeah, she's old school.
I'm
Missy,
right there
look,
with you.
we're going to be talking about, your future towards enlightenment, which really is a blueprint for all of us when we step out into the world. But before we do, we have two of your books to give away.
Mhm,
I would love to, first of all, know how do people work with you?
mhm.
And then tell us a little bit about the book.
Right. So people can work with me on my website. You can just on the contact page. You could just send me a message on if you're interested. I do have a way to do appointments as well. But if you're just looking for information, I do in-person readings, I do phone call readings, and I do video readings. So I have clients all over the United States. So yeah, anyway, and if anyone's interested, they can also look at the testimonials I have on my website as well. And my website, you've seen it, has a lot of information on what I'm doing. Not only do I have this book out, my solo book, but I've also been a contributing author for 7 other books, and I'm getting ready to do another one. So, yeah, so there's lots of ways that you can connect with what I'm doing.
Awesome. And I want to give a copy, or Benny, we have two. Let's do one at a time. Copy of Misty's book by your side. And let's go ahead and do that. You all, first way to do it is give us a call, 1-800-930-2819, 1-800-930-2819, and say hi to Mr. Benny, and you'll get a copy of the book. All right, fast forward to where we are. Here's where we are. We're now looking towards the future. We're now looking at, this is my life. This is what I've been through. This is what I know I'm capable of. Um, Now I have to prepare myself for my future.
Yes.
What did you do?
Mm-hmm. It's really interesting again, and I know it sounds very simple, but I know going through the motions, it's really not. I just followed my heart. And so I would get emails from different mentors and then I just followed it. And those that really spoke to me, I followed through. So that's how I got involved with the books. I was in touch with the person I did the class with, the mind body spirit class. Well, she was connecting with somebody who is an author coach. And so I got into contact with her. She was doing a book. That's how I got to be a contributing author. Then I was able to do my book. And it's just weird how it's just when one door opens and you walk through it, instead of fearful, you realize, oh, wow, there's another door. And it's not like you go through that door and you're lost by yourself. You have guidance and you just step through the next one. And you always want to step a little bit outside your comfort zone. For me, doing this radio show, it's a little out of my comfort zone until I get used to it. But I was called to do it. And so I follow my heart and I follow that guidance I receive. So yeah, so that's how I kind of got into it, and opportunities just started presenting themselves. And I do events in Tucson, and somehow somebody mentioned it to me. I got information. There is a huge waiting list of people to be in these psychic fairs. I was able just to, at the right time, I just happened to send the email and he's like, oh, just so happens I need somebody who does what you do. And there I was. So and that's just it. It's following the guidance that you receive.
Yeah, man, I can't say enough about this. I might go off a little bit on this. Let's talk about this because it
Yeah.
leads to the next part of the conversation
Mhm.
about blank enlightenment, the birth of blank enlightenment.
Yes.
You know, along the way, I've gotten a lot of help. I mean, I can't talk enough about the people in my life that allow me to simply show up and do and have this conversation with you. I can't, you know, whether it's Carter running the show or Benny or Jessica, Linda, no, nobody gets on my show that doesn't have to go through Linda, right?
That's right.
Uh,
Yeah, right.
and Linda's been my best friend since 1973, stepped in when my producer literally just, I don't know what happened to her. And Linda had no experience in this, right? Blank experience. But here we are. And each of us, and this is really the question, each of us have to prepare our future intentions. But we also have to prepare ourselves to enact those intentions. I would love for you to talk about those because
Sure.
now it's one thing to write them on a piece of paper. As a matter of fact, I am going off a little bit on this. I was just talking to our sales team, and I was saying, man, you know, we got to come up with another way of doing this. It's great to have all these intentions, but this is the way this works. This is the way this works. And yet at the same time, it is really difficult for most of us to go from our vision board, our paper, to actually having things manifest. But
Right.
once we learn it, right, Misty, it's like gold.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
tell us about how you did it.
Sure. So what I did is I just, like you said, the vision board. I had a vision board. I also write lists. And I think putting that out there, it tells the universe that you're ready to do your part, because the universe can bring all of this to you, but you also have to show, you just can't sit there and wait. You have to kind of step, do your steps to get there. And that means doing the work. And I think that's, a lot of people don't want to do the work. They just want it to come to them. And I think with my clients, I think that's where some of them kind of, you know, why they're still stuck, and I've told them this is, it's like, yeah, it sounds really great, but I just want it to come to me. Well, it doesn't work that way. So I think what's helped me is I started a morning routine. And I'm going to be honest,
Yeah.
I'm not 100% consistent. I do this morning routine, I'd say 5 times a week on average. But my morning routine consists of, I do meditation, and I don't even set a time. It's, for me, since at first I kind of said, okay, I'm going to do 15 minutes, but now I just do what I feel is right for me for that day. Sometimes it's 30 minutes, sometimes it's 10 minutes. And then from there, I read something inspirational.
Yeah. Big.
So, yeah, so I do that. So for me, it's the daily word or guideposts or something like that. And I read a story. And, that kind of gets me like, wow, this, they did it, I can do it, or whatever it is. And, for people, it's whoever your creator is. My creator, I consider it God. And, other people have their beliefs, but whatever your belief is, follow that. So, I read a passage from the Bible, and then I journal. And my journaling could sometimes be 4 pages, sometimes it's just, God, thank you for my opportunities. And that's it. So, and I feel like with that, that's telling the universe that I'm ready to step in to what you are wanting me to do. And, I tell my clients, it's God working with me, through me, to me, and then I just spread the word out to other people. And you have to be open to that. You have to, like I said, do the work. You have to do your part to make it happen, whatever that may be. Writing the book about my sister was so difficult. It's a small book. And it basically goes into the journey of what was going on, because my mom kept meticulous notes. She journaled every day about what was going on. But the book was so hard for me to write. Not only was it going through all of these feelings that I pushed down for 20 years, but I'm not a writer.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I was a writer.
Yeah.
And, my writing consisted of memos to the inmate population or memos to the regional office requesting more money when I worked for the prison.
Yep.
So that is something that I was not comfortable with, but felt I was guided. And part of that guidance came from my mom, who always said, she had told me a long time ago, she's like, Misty, I'm trying to write the book about Stephanie. I've tried it so many times, I can't. So please promise me when you retire, you will write a book about Stephanie, about our experiences. And I promised her that. And that's what kind of pushed me to finish the book. But it took me over a year to write it because it was just so difficult. But I put in the work.
Yeah.
I did the work. And that's what people have to be ready for, whatever that looks like. It could mean going through a divorce. That's the work you have to do to show the universe that you're ready to step into your power, to step into what your purpose really is. And yeah, so I don't know if it's magical, but it's been magical to me having that morning routine. And actually, one of my mentors showed that to me and taught me how to do that. And since I've been doing it, it's been amazing. When I meditate, that's when I get my ideas.
Yeah.
It comes to me. It's just like that. An idea pops in, and I know that is my higher source, again, working to me, through me, with me to get information out there for my clients.
Yeah, I mean, I love that you shared this story. And I think what I want to do is go ahead and skip the break. One of the books has already been given away.
Oh,
And
good.
so, yeah, what I'd like to do is just continue the conversation, because you mentioned something where you said, that's how I get my idea.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I wanted to talk with you about is getting the idea, and hence blank enlightenment is
Mm-hmm.
born,
Yes.
because the ideas don't stop coming if we prepare to be open to receive them, right?
That's right. Exactly. And that's when I realize when I think too much, when I'm thinking too much, that's when it does not happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's when I'm opening the heart. That's when I get the ideas, and that's when it starts flowing, and I believe that's because I'm connected. That's my connection to the higher power, to my higher source. And, I tell my clients, we are all part of that higher source.
Mm-hmm.
Again, whatever you call it, for me, God, we all are, because we are made from our creator. And so we have that connection, that personal connection. So whether somebody prays, it's the same thing. That's their form of meditation, is praying, or whatever it is. And again, that's the blank enlightenment. That's exactly, because blank enlightenment can mean so many things to different people. And even with me, blank enlightenment means so many different things depending on the day. So it's open to the possibilities, it's open to the interpretations, whatever I want it to be, and whatever my source is guiding me to do. For sure.
And that, that's also part of, fast forwarding to where we are today, the show, Blank Enlightenment Radio. And let's go ahead, Benny, and give another copy of the book away. 1-800-930-2819. Please just give us a call. Benny's ready to get your information. We'll get a copy of Misty's book. Hence, fast forward to where we are today and the birth of Blank Enlightenment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's what was, interesting, because as working with you, it was just an accident how this came about. And that's the best kind of guidance, when it's just by accident. And I sent you the information and you thought that's what I meant. And I just said, I'm drawing a blank. I don't know. For my show title, I'm drawing a blank. And then ding, there it was. And that's what I love about it. That's how the ideas come. That's how the guidance comes, accidentally. So for people, I think, well, and I tell my clients this, you have to be present and you have to be aware of what's going on throughout your day, or else you're going to miss that blank enlightenment that you're going to be receiving. You could be walking out the door and, my thing is the feathers, angel feathers, the little
Oh,
small white feathers. You might just walk right on past it and not even pay attention to it because,
right.
we get so busy caught up in our day. And I know it's not easy. I've been there, but just allowing yourself to be present, whether it's for meditation, whether it's walking out the door on your way to work, that's how ideas are formed. For me, that's how I've created a lot of my things, is through being open. And when you brought that up and we were talking about it, I was like, that's perfect,
Yeah.
because it's so true. It's opening yourself to the possibilities.
And so blank enlightenment is this phrase, right? Which actually becomes a way of working with people
Mhm,
where, we're drawing a blank. How often do we draw a blank and we cannot see the possibilities? But
mhm,
we especially draw a blank when it comes to the enlightened path, as we call it, or just simply a guy I studied with down in California. His thing was the whole theory of flow, right?
mhm.
And so that is the part where we don't realize that we do get to fill in the blanks, don't we?
Absolutely. Yeah, we do. Again, it's, we have free will and we're able to make choices and we decide. And I think a lot of problems that come with people feeling stuck is they're allowing others to choose what their blank enlightenment is. And it doesn't work. You might be able to fool yourself for a little bit, but it doesn't work. And you have to be the one to choose where you're going to go, what you're going to be open to, what your goals are, what you love doing, because part of opening yourself up and part of receiving your guidance is what you love to do. And it's not selfish for stepping into that. It isn't selfish because that's your mark to the world. That's what you're supposed to do to help others.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it all comes down to, helping others, connecting with people. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I didn't think that I would have a life and a career, full of joy. And here's what I love about this. And first of all, every day I am realizing that if I am open in a way that you just talked about it, things show up
Hmm.
out of nowhere,
Yep.
right? So even like I'm talking with someone about something totally random, and I mentioned I'm going to be going back to New Jersey for a wedding and a few other things back there for the network. And they mentioned, "Oh, are you going to be here October 26th?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know." And they said, "Well, we're going to have a booth. This is one of our friends and one of our sponsors, Aurora
Hmm.
Paradise, says we're going to have a booth." And I'm saying, "A booth where? Like a booth where?
Yeah.
We're going
Yeah.
to have the booth." And
Yeah.
my New Jersey going on right there. And so she says, "Oh my God, there's like the largest women's thing going on."
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, meant to do it." See what I
Hmm.
mean? And this is
Exactly.
an opportunity that if you let fear get in the way,
Hmm.
like, "Oh my God, Pat, this is in the middle of our crowdfunding that we're launching, and we really are going to be out there raising funds for the network. Why would you go to New Jersey?" And you got to shut that thing down,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah, definitely. You have to, you know, it's normal to be afraid. I mean, that's just the human nature.
Yeah.
But when you let it control your life, you get nowhere.
Oh
You
boy,
get nowhere.
I know.
And that's not the way to live. That's not
Yeah.
how we're supposed to live.
I just want to tell everybody that nowhere is actually a place you actually get to. It's not a place you don't want to, you don't want to be nowhere. But
Hmm.
believe me, Misty and I know that that is a place that you can be. See, we
Yes.
think nowhere is like nowhere, and nowhere is really a place. And I know if you're listening to this show, Nowhere is not what you want.
No,
Misty, what
not
a
at
great
all.
show today. I would love for you to, again, how can people that did not get a copy of the book, how
Yeah,
can they get a copy of the book?
yeah.
And more importantly, I'd like to know your website, how they can work with you. And then finally, what's your personal message for today?
Yes. Well, to
Wow.
get a copy of the book, you can go to Amazon.com or you can get it on my website at mistymthompson.com. And I have all my other books. And in fact, I have a free meditation there on the website that I created. So, people are welcome to do that, to download it for free. I would love for that. That would be great. And I have some other products there as well. And then also I'm on Facebook at facebook.com/mystified enlightenment. Yep. And I'm on Instagram, Misty_M_Thompson. So yeah, I'm everywhere. And I have to admit, I'm not the best at social media, but I'm working on it.
Oh, don't worry. We can
Yeah.
help you with that. Why?
Yes.
Because we created a network that isn't based on anything out there. We ask everybody, what do you want? And they said, we love doing the radio, but we don't want to do the other stuff. So Jessica lives the life that you talk about.
Yeah.
And she says, why don't we do it for people?
Oh,
But
yeah.
isn't that part of the journey? Having enough of what you teach people, Misty, in
Mhm.
order for them to take that step forward. That's
Yes.
it, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And like you said, you have to, appreciate the team of people that are there to help you for sure.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Misty Thompson, everybody. One more time for your website.
Yep.
Anything else you want to say to encourage people
Mhm.
to get the help and the coaching they need,
Sure. Yeah,
please.
my website again is mistymthompson.com. And I would just like to end saying, first of all, you're worth it. You are worth it. You are deserving to step into that you have passion for. And I would ask that everyone be present in your day and appreciate all of that is around you. Yeah.
Wow. What a powerful message. Thank you, Misty. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
bringing this forward. Thank you for saying yes. And thank you for blank enlightenment.
Of course. I'm excited.
Me too, everybody. We're
I
going to take a
know.
short break.
This
You're
is
going to hear
great.
a lot more from Misty. A lot. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Another hour right here of the Dr. Pat Show, Transformation Talk Radio. We'll be right back.